You are listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia. Man, it's the Washington Commanders post-game show. The Washington Commanders fell to the Minnesota Vikings 20-17 in Kirk Cousins' comeback game to FedEx. I'm Wole. I'm with the homie Glenn. Hey, what's good, my man?
Nothing much, man. The Washington Commanders let one slip away.
They did.
They let one slip away. One that they had, which you looked at it, you thought they had one, and well, we'll get into it. They let one slip away because there's a lot to this game, right? There's a lot to this game that we want to break down. We want to talk about here. Definitely. It's definitely a lot, man. So yeah. I'm all right. I'm upbeat, and let's talk about the Commanders.
He said I'm upbeat. Hey, let's get to the particulars. Hey, you can subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Gold Errrything. Also tweet us at ABG_Errrything and hit us up on IG at ABG_Errrything. I like our All Burgundy and Gold Errrything Facebook page. Make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Gold Errrything YouTube channel as well. So, Glenn, let's get right into it. I mentioned Washington. They fell to Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings 22-17. What were your thoughts on the game, my
man? First thought is that the Washington football team, Washington Commanders. Sorry, we changed the name. The Washington Commanders need.
I be rocking Redskins, so you know how.
Yeah. The Washington Commanders. the Washington Commanders need some offense, right?
Yeah.
I know people say, "Oh, they put up 17 points today." Well, they stopped.
That's not good. That's not good.
It's definitely not good. They stopped the Minnesota Vikings in the first half, right?
Yeah.
They stopped the Minnesota Vikings in the first half on majority of the series and got the ball in good field position.
Yes.
Got the ball in great field position and still could not muster any points, and not until the last minute or so of the second quarter. If the team had some kind of offensive presence, they would have scored multiple times. When you have a team again like the Minnesota Vikings, we all know that 6-1, as we called it on the show, the podcast last week, as Mo called it, it is a loose 6-1, right?
Yeah,
it's a loose 6-1, and you had the 6-1 team in the first half not being able to move the ball, sacking Kirk Cousins left and right, knocking the ball down. They did not have a running game whatsoever in the first half. You're getting the ball on their yard, they're on the 50-yard line or better, right? And could not muster any points. I don't care what anybody else says. The Washington offense did not come through today for the Washington Commander team in the first half. The second half scoring, let's be honest, and you guys can say what you want to say. You can tweet me at Real Glenn Thomas if you disagree with me. But the pass by Tyler Heineke would have been intercepted if the referee wouldn't have been there.
Oh my God!
That would have been. It would have been picked off. He threw into triple coverage.
Oh, it's horrible.
Right? Horrible triple coverage. He threw the ball into and got lucky. Right. I need to take that dude. That dude need to go down to the MGM Grand tonight, right off at I-95, and go ahead and just put all his money down because he's a lucky type of dude.
He is. He's a lucky dude, man. I'm with you. So watching this game, man, obviously, folks gonna call me whatever you want to call me. It's cool. But if you watch that game, you can't tell me watching this game that you were happy with the offense. You were happy with your quarterback play. You were happy with Taylor Heineke. You were happy with Scott Turner or whatever. That one pass I called it an angels in the outfield type of pass. Like he threw it up there. Referee was like thrown into the defender's way, and Samuel had made a great play in terms of keeping his concentration on the football. But you can't go into games and putting everything on this defense, man. Like 17 points is good enough to beat. They have 20 points, and I don't even say 17. And I don't even want to call it 17. I really want to call it 13 because literally this defense didn't give up that pick and put them in the red zone, right? This defense didn't do that. Taylor Heineke's interception did that. So to me, this defense truly gave up like 13 points, and I just feel like they are playing so hard and so well that just have an offense average 20 points, man, or 24. No one's asking you to have the most high power offense. And again, we come into this season, and the debate was, this offense is high potent. There's weapons everywhere. You got the Ricky Brian Robinson Jr. You got Antonio Gibson, 1,000-yard rusher. You got You got receivers. You got Curtis Samuel. You got Terry McLaurin. Yeah, you didn't have Jahan Dotson, but we seen De'Ami Brown make plays when he was playing when he was in that Tennessee Titans game. Now he's healthy. That's Mims just had a touchdown. Tight end play. You saw what Amari Rodgers can do. You got Logan Thomas, though not healthy, but you still got weapons, right? It's good enough to not score 17 points. We look at teams outside of the Commanders, like the New York Giants and teams like that. They can score 20, and they don't have offensive weapons other than maybe Saquon Barkley. If you want to call Daniel Jones a weapon, okay, Daniel Jones, right? But Washington has more talent in this offensive skill position in terms as in terms of depth, and it's just so hard watching this team play offense. And in this game, it just showed. It reared its ugly head. You know what I mean? Like you could barely score, you did nothing in the first quarter. The first half was 7-3, and again, that's because of defense. And then you got lucky with a bomb to Samuel that a referee got in the way. It was in triple coverage. So it's not like this offense is an offense of consistency. It's an offense of flukeness. And even the score that's meant, like we had penalties to help them get into the red, get that touchdown. You know what I mean? Like the face mask on Taylor Heineke, the pass interference is there's no pure way of winning, a pure way of scoring for this team. And my man George said, I've got good news, Willie and Glenn. One, Washington is no longer Detroit's only win. Two, both quarterbacks were so bad we don't have to hear from the dueling of Kirk and Heineke hives. Hooray! Yeah, George, I know, right? I mean, Kirk. I mean, he had a winning drive. I think Kirk made some plays. I don't think Kirk was special to any which way in imagination, but he made some plays.
Yeah, Kirk made some plays, and you take away, go back to the Washington offense again. If you take away that 49-yard pass to
Oh
Curtis
my
Samuel,
God!
right?
Yeah,
You have Tyler Heineke only having 100 yards throwing today, right? Even though they try to run the football, the Washington offense had 137 yards rushing,
hmm
combined with Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson,
hmm
Taylor Heineke, as well as Curtis Samuels, who ran the football.
yeah,
So those are one of the things that you got to look at this Washington offense is that they struggling. They are struggling. They are definitely struggling to. They ran the ball well today. I can't give him that. He committed to the run until late when they had the lead.
situational running, Glenn. Go ahead, but I
Yeah,
want
yeah,
you to continue. It's situational. It's
yeah.
bad situational running. But go ahead.
Situation running, but he didn't run it when it was time to run.
Yeah,
Right? He didn't run it when it was time to
when it was
milk the
needed.
clock.
Yeah.
I know we talked about before and on. I had to go back, right? I had to go back, look back, and see when Tyler Heineke's interception was thrown. I remember,
hmm
I forgot if it was second or third down. This is just me play calling. I call offenses, right?
hmm
As you're second and 11, right? Is
hmm
8 minutes left in a football game. Second and 11. I know now that I am two down. So I have I have two plays to get 11 yards, right?
hmm
11, second and 11 is just like first and 10. I'm not really behind the sticks, right? I'm 1 yard behind the sticks.
Yeah.
I run the football here. All right. I run the football second and 11. Try to pick up maybe 4 or 5 yards because you're getting 3 or 4 yards a chunk, right?
Yeah.
If you're watching. So now you make it manageable third and 7, third and 5, third and 6. You really don't have to chunk the ball down the field. Give it to Taylor Heineke. Yes, the receiver was open, but he threw the ball high. The ball went high and it sailed over the receiver's head. You get a pick. The worst thing that you could do there was get an interception. The worst thing you do is turn the ball over. And what the worst thing can happen? They turn the ball over, right?
Yeah.
Gave the defense a short field. And when you give a team like the Minnesota Vikings a short field where they have weapons,
Yeah.
they're going to bound to score a touchdown. Can we be honest for a minute? The Minnesota Vikings should have been a pass interference against St-Juste early in the game.
Yeah. Later in the game. Yeah. Later in the game. Yeah. Even later in
Yeah,
the game. Yeah.
no, early in the game when the one that was tipped in the end zone. I think that
Oh
was
yeah. 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 I got you. Yeah. 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 I got you. I got you.
that was pass interference all day long. All
Yeah.
right, it was pass interference. He caught the ball just to receive. He tipped it up, but his arms was on Jefferson early. They
Uh-huh.
just didn't call it. So it's one of those things that when you look at it, this Washington offense struggles. The defense held them long enough to stay in the football game. They
Uh-huh.
kept them in the game. This was a defense of Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne were in Kirk Cousins' face all day long. Made him change. Even Montez Sweat blocking balls down. This defense is playing great this part of the season that don't have any offensive help.
They don't. And we actually had a poll, and you mentioned the running game, Glenn. We had a poll about if this team is, if Washington utilize Antonio Gibson better. Did they utilize Antonio Gibson to you, to the fans and whatnot? And the poll. Actually, let me read the poll verbatim. It says, "Are you pleased with the Washington Commanders' use of Antonio Gibson?" We have 31% said yes, and 69% said no. And it goes, and to me, I think just by watching, using the eye test, and we all like, I like Brian Robinson Jr. I think Brian Robinson Jr. is a tough back, but this team gets big plays out of Antonio Gibson. You know what I mean? And he looks like the more playmate. He's like the playmaking back. I would like to see him utilized a little bit more. And I just thought that he wasn't utilized enough. I thought that he made some explosive plays. You saw the kickoff return. It's just what he can do for the football team. Because to me, when you have a bad offense, you need any playmaker on deck to help you score fast. And I feel like Antonio Gibson gives you that. Now, and it seems like just by watching him, he's kind of cured the fumbling problem. What I mean by that is he's very conscious of switching the ball to the opposite hand, if to the outside hand, if the defender's coming. You've seen him do it a number of times, so he's gotten a hint. You can watch it. He's valuing that football like the program back in there, like that movie, The Program. When the running back Omar Epps, how he used to hold that ball 24/7, he's on that mode. Like you could tell, like he's valuing that football. So I would just like to see him utilized more. Just try to make it as even as possible. Like really have the thunder and lightning type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you want to value Brian Robinson Jr. I think he helps Antonio Gibson stay fresh. But I would like to see him used a little bit more, and definitely and sometimes some in the red zone, because he was very efficient in the red zone. I'm talking about Antonio Gibson when he was a starter. He was very efficient in the red zone.
Yeah, I think I like to see Antonio Gibson used more.
Mm.
And more in the receiving game, especially
Yeah, that too.
When Dawson's out, you can use Antonio Gibson in that aspect. I love this. I love the fact that he was able to return kicks today. Right,
Oh my
it
God.
gave them some yardage, because Dax Milam is not that guy. Right, he
Yeah.
is not. He's not that guy,
Yeah.
and that's part of the problem too. When I talked about field position,
Mm-hmm.
in that situation, if you had Antonio Gibson returning a punt at that time, he might have got you down to the 35, 40-yard line, right? He might
Yeah.
have got you inside where he was already in field goal range.
Mm-hmm.
Dax Milam couldn't get many yards even
It's
on
Mims.
cover.
It's like that's Mims. Mims.
Dax Mims, whatever
Yeah.
that, yeah, whatever his
Yeah.
name is.
Yeah.
Dax, I mean,
Touchdown. Good for him though.
yeah, good for him. Got a touchdown, right? Dax, whatever the case may be, he just couldn't get. He's not that guy returning, right? They need to
Yeah, he's
find
not
somebody else. It is what it is. They
that
need to
guy.
find someone else to get them in close to score position.
Mm-hmm.
And I said all this, and they still played bad, right? They wasn't they just did this, and they were still in the football game because of the defense. I think that's what you want. You want to give them a chance, but I think somebody said it. Ron Rivera's poor clock management. Ron Rivera's again misuse. We talked about this a couple of weeks. Misuse of a challenge, right? Misuse of a challenge. That's what you pay the people upstairs for, right? You
Mm-hmm.
pay them upstairs to look at it before they buzz you and say, "Hey, coach, we got this one should be overturned. This one should."
Mm-hmm.
Yo, whoever is upstairs for the Washington Commanders should be fired.
I agree. I don't know what they're doing with the challenges. That it's killing me. I don't get it. It's mind boggling. You're at home. This is one thing. You're at home, so there's no rush. You're on offense. There's no rush. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, when you're at home, so you get all the camera angles. You're on offense, so there's no rush. So you're not like you're rushing the defense to figure out what's what. And it still happens. My man George says, by the way, how the hell do you airmail 6'6" Logan Thomas by several feet? Hey man. Hey, let me say this for the Heineke Hive. I want to get to that too. If that is Carson Wentz, everybody is saying like he's horrible. If Carson Wentz makes that play, he throws that pass in that situation when you're up 17-10, and that play happens, there's no excuse that no one's gonna say, "Oh, Carson." Like they're not gonna say, "Oh, we're gonna trust Carson Wentz down the stretch." Nah, y'all gonna blame Carson Wentz. Y'all gonna say it's Carson Wentz's fault. You're not going. I'm on Twitter. I'm waiting on it. Like I'm on Twitter. I'm waiting for y'all, man, because I want that same energy. Because at the end of the day, yeah, Ridgeway made and I mean we gotta talk about it. Ridgeway making that dumb play, and it goes back to just to me, like you said, Glenn, earlier, this team beat themselves. Like, there is some dumb stuff in this football game. Like, you mentioned Rivera and the timeouts and challenging and going into a quarter. You play close games. You gotta know that, hey, this timeout is way more important than this 50-50 challenge. You know what I mean? Like, it's only 1 yard. Keep the challenge. You got two. I mean, you keep the challenge in the timeout. That's 2 timeouts. That could have helped you out in this situation. That play, Ridgeway, just know, dude, it's an easy kick. What are you gonna do going over the center? Like, what play are you gonna make? Like, relax. Like, that's not bad situational football.
But
Taylor
you can
Heineke airmailing that pass, bad situational football. Like, come on. But go ahead,
They,
Glenn. You want to
they
say
said
something?
something that the Minnesota Vikings do. They talked about it on the broadcast.
Yeah.
How they have situational Fridays, right? What if the
Mm-hmm.
Washington Commanders have situational Fridays? Like, this is what you do. Don't everybody knows the rule. Don't
Yeah.
touch the center, right? From
Yep.
high school to from little league to rec league all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
You do not touch the long snapper on field goals, punts, and things of that nature. That
Well,
is a
yeah.
rule. Everybody knows that you're trying to swipe across. No, at that point, it gives the
Yeah.
Commanders. The Commanders could have had a minute 52 with 1 timeout. That's all you ask for to
Yeah.
either tie the game up, to do whatever else you need to do. That's what you need to do, right? That's what you need to do. But at this point here, you look at the Washington Commanders, and I want to go back to let's see, it was the Tyler Heineke, all the tip balls, right?
Yeah.
It's because we all know
He's
he's
short.
short. He
Yeah.
can't move, right? He has
Mm-hmm.
to move around and get out of the pocket. He has to move. The pocket has to shift in order for him to see. If you look at the passes today that he made, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
everything he made was never standing in the pocket, which I wonder why Scott Turner has not moved him more out of the pocket. I think there was one play I really scratched my head off, but they're Washington's 35. You're gonna run a draw with Tyler Heineke. Really? That is an opportunity that you took.
No.
And that is
Yeah.
a situation where you had opportunity to score, a situation that you had an opportunity to get a lead, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so when you scratch your head on the play call, it's like, what are we thinking here? What are you thinking as a offensive coordinator with what you have? You mentioned earlier as you were talking that there's talent on this field, right?
Yeah.
You had Terry McLaurin caught 5 balls today, right?
Yeah.
Curtis Cam Samuel caught 3 balls today. If
Mm-hmm.
if you look at Taylor Heineke, he only completed 15 balls, right?
Mm-hmm.
He threw the ball 28 times. All right, and
Doing too
that's not
much,
a
man.
lot for him. That's not a lot for him. But you knew the possessions were going to be short because of the way the defense was playing, and they
Yeah.
never capitalized on the short field. That's the biggest thing. If anybody want to take away from what they got out from this game was that the Washington offense didn't capitalize on a short field. Good teams capitalize on short
Short
fields when
fields
you
all the
go on
time.
the 45 or the 50-yard line. You're at least walking away with 3, and this team did not do that this today. And that's one of the biggest issues. That's the biggest takeaway from the game. Capitalize on because easily, if you go back to the first second quarter, this Washington team defense stopped the Minnesota
Man,
Vikings.
stopping him. After the first drive, they stopped him.
And this Washington team easily could have had 15, 16, even 21 points. It could have been 21-7.
Yes. If they were an efficient offense.
There was an efficient offense. It should have been 21-7. Washington going into the half.
This is what fans need to know. This Minnesota defense isn't good. It isn't good. It isn't a good defense. All right. They got guys who can sack the quarterback, but it isn't like a defense that can shut you out. So it's on to Scott Turner, man. This is when when I put out the hashtag fire Scott Turner. Like, it's a problem. This is a problem, man. Like, and it was stated like the coach that coaches the Minnesota Vikings. This is why this game was so important to me as a viewer. The coach that coached the Minnesota Vikings, Ron Rivera had the opportunity to bring this man in to make him. Had the opportunity to keep this man on the staff and keep him as the offensive coordinator. He decided to go with his boy Scott Turner. Now look at what's happened. Look what happened. The whole excuse about Scott Turner was that, oh, Scott Turner he didn't have weapons. He got weapons this year, and the same thing. There's no excuse. He ain't a good coordinator. 4th and 1. I'm gonna say this. 4th and 1. Brian Robinson just gave you a man run to make it 4th and 1. And it wasn't a real one. It's 4th and a half of a yard, bro. And the dude, instead of just trying to get the first down, the dude does a rollout play with Taylor Heineke, a limited quarterback, a rollout play to Scary Terry, and it was the defensive back knocked the ball away. Why do you keep putting you setting up this man for failure? Like you think you're doing something slick. Get the close to the shore thing. Hand the ball off to your back, your sledgehammer. Do a quarterback sneak if you want to. Get the first down. It's about winning games and making winning plays. And this dude, to me, Scott Turner, does not make winning plays for this this team. It is time for this. I'm not. You can't fire him right now during the season, but next season he cannot be your offensive coordinator. I am sorry. This has to be said. His offense consistently is putrid. We can't keep making excuses for him. It was Carson Wentz. Oh, he ain't the quarterback to run his offense. Okay, then we go back to Taylor Heineke. It's still a BS. It's still a BS horrible offense. They could barely score. We have to wait on Heineke magic in the fourth quarter. Well, Heineke magic this time wasn't positive. Heineke magic was negative because he threw the interception that pretty much changed the momentum of the game. So now it gets to a point where we got to put the blame on who the blame needs to be on. I'm not going to even put Heineke in the mesh of this. It is Scott Turner. Like, dude, you have to be like, this has to be a lightning ball for Coach Rivera. Like, all right, I'm messed up with this dude. Like, I really messed up with this dude. And for me to be a decent head coach, I gotta pivot. I gotta go a different route. I can't have this dude manning my offense next season. If I want to contend for the NFC East, if I want to beat the Dallas Cowboys, if I want to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, if I want to beat the New York Giants, I can't have this dude as an offensive coordinator. I can't. Maybe if he wants to be an offensive a quarterback coach, go be a quarterback coach. But he got a lot to learn of being. He has a lot to learn of being a good offensive coordinator in this league.
Yo, I want while you preach, I want to add on to that, because when you look at good offensive coordinators, they know how to get first downs. Right?
Yes.
They know how to get first downs. The Washington Commanders were 3 for 10 on third down today. 3 for 10 on third down. And most of those are third and less than maybe 5, right?
Uh-huh.
You run the football. There's some things you just do. I'm sorry. What you do when you 4th and 1 and go, I want to harp on the 4th and 1 real quick, is that you tell your offensive line on 4th and 1 that I trust you.
Yes.
You're telling your offensive line, you're telling your running back, I trust you. You don't put the ball in the hands of your barely 6 foot quarterback and ask him to roll out to get 1 yard. If anything, he rolls out. If he's going to roll out, you need to run Taylor Heineke and get the 1 freaking yard. Why roll out and lose 5 yards? The shortest, when I was in geometry class, they told me the shortest distance between any point is a straight line, right?
Exactly.
So you take those two guys, 4th and 1, and this is the pivotal part of this game, right? Because you still have the ball, you still have the lead here. 4th and 1, keep the clock rolling, keep the momentum going. You go down the field. I'm going to line my team up. Most coaches are going to line their dogs up and put the ball in the best hand of their athlete. And you can't tell me that on the field right there at 4th and 1, Taylor Heineke is your best athlete. No way. Brian Robinson is your best athlete. Antonio Gibson is your best athlete. Even if you would do J.D. McKissick in there, those are your best athletes that you get the ball to. You put the ball in your playmaker's hands. You don't roll out on 4th and 1. You go get the 4th. You go get the first down. Keep the clock rolling. Put your team in a position. If you go up 20 at this point, if you go up 20 to 10, you pretty much almost at a lock to win this game.
Yes.
Because they had not moved the ball. If you go up 20-10 at that point, you're almost in a lock to win the football game. Once again, the defense with bend don't break. And I'm gonna tell you why bend don't break. Yeah. Because the Minnesota Vikings were in the red zone 4 times. They only scored twice.
Well,
right?
Are you counting that pick six? The pick six, the pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take that one away. Because that's not fair to them.
All right, it was in the red zone. So again,
but they were. I knew the Vikings were in the red zone 3. Yeah, definitely. I got you.
Yeah, they're in the red zone. So again, you got to be able to capitalize off that. As the defense stops the field goals, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you can be in the red zone all day. If they're getting 3, you getting 7.
You're good. You're good, man.
You're good. Yeah, man. Defense ran out of juice there, and again, Dalvin Cook made a play. Hey, you know what? I want to take my hats off to Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins played great. Not great, but he played great enough to win against this team, because he put the ball in places that it should have been. And we talked about it on the podcast. If you didn't listen to it. I just believe that Kirk Cousins should have stayed in Washington with the offensive coordinator that is now the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, I mean, Kirk made some plays. I mean, we gotta give credit where credit's due. That pass to Dalvin Cook was a perfect pass.
Yep.
He stayed in there. He was getting hit, man. Like he was getting hit. Washington was bringing They were bringing pressure before. Sometimes bring pressure with like a blitz. They would get through and they would get home, and you could see him getting a little skittish. Had an opportunity to get some picks.
The one is one that he threw the one he threw to Thielen, right?
That's
The one
that's
the
like you
Thielen
talking about end of the first half, right?
in the
That was
first
a
half.
perfect pass. That was a good
First
pass.
half.
And
He
I
took
mean,
a
didn't
hit.
it end up but good to props to Danny Johnson getting that pick towards, and changing the whole game where they couldn't even score at the half.
But that's the mentality of the offensive coordinator. Look at it. They had 40-some seconds left, right? No, 47 seconds left in the first half, and they're going to go score.
Yeah.
Right? They're marching down the field to try to score again. What if Scott Turner if the roles were reversed? Would Scott Turner have been that aggressive to go down the field and score?
Yeah, I agree. I think to me, just in the lumps, I think he would. It's just that you gotta know who your personnel is. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you trust Taylor Heineke to get you to a point where he ain't gonna turn the football over, consistent, getting to that rhythm where he can get you those points. That's the thing. Like you got Kurt is pretty safe with the football. We can all admit, like he'll check down before he take a risk. But like that play was a great play by St-Juste and then Danny Johnson being at the right spot. So it kind of helped Washington. But in terms of the whole game, like the Vikings had a great way of, to me, great situational football. Like even look at the end of the game and how they made sure, like they weren't trying to score a touchdown. They were trying to bleed that clock after Ridgeway made a foolish play. They tried to bleed the clock and was like, all right, we're gonna make sure that we can kick this field goal and y'all have no time left to do anything. So I just thought it was, and they were at the one. They knew exactly what they were doing. It was smart football.
I wouldn't have tackled Dalvin Cook. I would have let him
either. I don't know why, but he didn't want to be tackled.
So
but you could tell how he ran. He didn't want to be tackled. He was running slow and gingerly so he could not get in.
Push him in the end zone.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I think they didn't get it. Like they didn't get it. Like the defense didn't get what I felt like the first play they didn't get it. Then they got it after that, but it was too late by then.
It was it was too late by then. But one thing that I want to give a kudos to this team. First of all, just one kudos.
Yeah, you should, man.
The kudos is they only have 2 games in a row. They were under 10 penalties.
10 penalties.
They was under 10. They only had 3 penalties today.
Yeah, there was still some bad penalties. But yeah, I'm with you. There was some bad.
3 penalties for 26 yards, right?
Yeah.
They cutting down on it being penalized because we know at the beginning of the season this team was getting penalized 10, 11, 12, 13 times a game.
Yeah.
This discipline was a little bit better there. Secondary, we give this guy a hard time. Kendall Fuller played.
This was his best game. I wanted to say that, man. I thought this was his best game, man. This is his best game. It was his best game. This was old Kendall Fuller. I'm gonna give flowers. We don't give flowers right now. That was old Kendall Fuller. I'm with you, Glenn. I'm with you.
Yeah. Kendall Fuller played a great game. So
he played great. I'm gonna say great. He played great. Real talk. He played
great game. He helped to keep him in the secondary. Wasn't that bad because Jefferson got his yards. He can get his. He got 115, 7 catches. He's gonna get his. It is what it is. You kept Kirk Cousins. You kept Kirk Cousins under 300 yards passing.
Yeah.
You kept Dalvin Cook with only 47 yards rushing.
Yep.
So it is. It was just that 3-minute stretch in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that was it.
For Washington football team, the Washington Commanders, to lose. Yep. It was a 3-minute stretch where the Minnesota Vikings scored 10 points.
Yes.
10 points in 3 minutes.
Yes.
Which means go back to the offensive game. You didn't run any time off.
Yes, agreed. That's what I'm saying. Like you do what you win the time of possession. That's important when you're this type of ball club. When your team is not a scoring team, you run the ball, you do the ball possession type of thing. You run the football and you try to grind it out. All right. You do not, I'm gonna say this again, Commanders fans, Redskin fans, you do not, my man George, before I finish my statement, my man George says they did a good job on Jefferson and the Vikings offense after the first drive. I totally agree, George. I totally agree. You do not, and I'm gonna say this, you do not have a Josh Allen. You do not have a Patrick Mahomes. You have a Heineke. That's what you have. You have Taylor Heineke. Understand this. This is not. Look, this is a fact. This is a factual statement. You have Taylor Heineke. So what that means is I need y'all to stop acting as if this team has a dude that is going to lead you to multiple drives. He needs everything to be perfect for a situation to work for you. So what Glenn and I, what we're saying is Make it easy on the Taylor Heineke. Run the football, play action off of that. Don't make him the lead dog, right? Don't make him the lead dog. Make him a supporting cast. All right. I know quarterbacks are the lead dogs, but he's not that type of quarterback. He's a supporting cast type of dude. Hand the ball off, make a couple plays, get the ball to Scary, but still, you should be fixated on Gibson and Robinson Jr. And if McKissick is healthy, McKissick, and work off of that alone, especially down the stretch when you have a lead. When you have a lead, you run that football. That's what it should be. When you get a 2-score lead, your job, to me, in my opinion, is to run the football and waste clock as much as you can. We see this with the Tennessee Titans with Derrick Henry. Like, this team is built to run the football because the quarterback play. They are built to run the football because the quarterback play. When you put it in the hands of a Taylor Heineke to try to lead you to the promised land consistently, like what you all think you want, you get what happened today. He overthrew Logan Thomas when he was wide open. This is the issue when I ask you, Commander fans, about this dude. I'm gonna be real with you. I ask you, what is he as a quarterback when he throws the football? What is he? Not the game. He's a clutch game dude. I'm with you on that. I'm with y'all on that. But football is more than one quarter. It's more than one series. Football is consistency. When you're a quarterback, you need consistency to be good in this league. You can't just have, oh, he had that one stretch where he was lights out. Because that's all it is in this the 2-game winning streak prior to this loss with Taylor Heineke. It was always one stretch. Or it was never a consistent game. It's always one or two, 3 series, right? When you're playing the better teams, you can't fall on that, man. You got to be accurate. You have to be precise. You have to anticipate. And yes, you got to have an arm to a certain point scare the opposition. Dude don't have any of that. But he's a gamer, though. I'm with y'all. Like, that spin move was sick. I love that spin move. I'm like, that dude got that spin move on the run was like that. But to win football games, you need something. You need something to scare the opposition. And and I'm gonna tell you this: if you don't got an arm, you better be accurate.
Yeah, I do want to give credit to Minnesota's front office. I know this is not the Minnesota show.
Yeah, go ahead. Give credit. Give me
to make that trade to get Hawkinson.
Oh my God, Hawkinson was crazy, bro.
Hawkinson kind of destroyed in the second half.
Oh my God, he was amazing.
He was Kirk Cousins' safety valve.
Yeah,
he was the valve to help this team. I mean, not that team, help the Minnesota Vikings beat the Washington Commanders. Mm-hmm. I also want to give a what are you doing award to?
Go ahead, give it to him.
My man Cornelius Lucas.
Oh yes,
Cornelius Lucas, 8-year vet, been around for a while. He could not block today. He couldn't stop pressure. He's getting knocked around. I mean, just manhandled.
Mm-hmm.
You're 6'8", 327 for a reason. 6'8", 327. Your job, you have one job: protect the quarterback. Go back and watch grade Cornelius Lucas out. He had a bad game today. Was getting just destroyed by the D tackles of the Minnesota Vikings. The offensive line for the Washington Commanders need help.
They do. I'm gonna read a tweet. My man who's watching the show, my man at Huffman Dave, said, "We all wanted JD back because of his ability to catch and run. We've not only abandoned him, but we've abandoned those plays as well. Throwing the ball on 3rd and 1. What WTF is Scott is fire is #fire Scott Turner thinking? Hey, yeah. I don't know. I keep telling you, man, like that 4th and 1, 3rd and 1. This man loves to throw the football. He just loves to throw the football
because he thinks he's not going to outthink some people, right?
Yeah.
It's 31. You're going to outthink you. Oh, they got to run, Doug. Here's a prime example, right? Go to Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings on their 4th and 1 late in the 4th quarter, right? They call the timeout because Washington had pushed everybody in. Washington comes back to the same formation. If you go back to what Minnesota did, Minnesota gave them the same exact look.
Yes.
The exact same look, and they handed the ball outside.
Yep. To Jefferson for that nice long run. Yep.
Jefferson for the nice long run. There are things that you can do when you have an offensive coordinator to scheme things open on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. You don't have to be traditional. You will, but running the football in those situations are high probability. It's amazing to me that this team say they're an analytical team and everything they do is through analytics, right?
It seems like it's reversed.
But it don't do things analytically. when it comes to calling plays.
It
And,
doesn't. I agree with you. Like you would say, 3rd and 1. Analytically, you would run the football. Like
analytically, you throw the football.
you
The
would run the
odds,
football. You would run the
yeah,
football.
you
Like
run football, yeah,
you're better off. You're better off getting the first down, running the football, than throwing the football. Um, But I want to give I want to stay on what you're talking about with the positives. I think there's a lot of positives, to be honest with you, in terms of some certain people who was balled out. I thought Aunt Jonathan Allen was amazing.
yes,
Um, I'll go special teams, man. I usually don't talk special teams like that, but I think I'm about to get Joey Sly some love. I think he's starting to settle down as a kicker.
yes,
Um, I thought in terms of like winning the field position, Tressway always amazing. The field position game, I thought they won that the way they would pin Kurt and the Vikings back, and we were able to kind of like have toss always their offense was always to me their offense, to your point, Glenn, their offense Washington was always in a decent advantageous spot in terms of field position. You know what I
mhm,
mean? Because of flipping the field and the defense having a strong stand and whatnot. And I want to give Jack Del Rio his flowers. I thought they all play. I thought they balled. Bostic played well to me. I know a lot of people that Bostic was fine. Jamin Davis continues to get better. St-Juste was getting mossed in that first drive, but at the end of the day, like you're going against one of the best, and I thought you competed. So I just think the defense as a whole was great. If I want to put the tape in, the film, and look at what this team put together, they shouldn't be ashamed of what they did defensively. Offensively, I'm gonna give flowers to Curtis Samuel. He was making a lot of plays today. Scary is always consistent. He did nothing wrong, so I don't want to like you know do anything with him. Terry is Terry. But yeah, I thought those are guys I thought that deserve some flowers. I thought they did pretty well.
yeah. Same thing, man. Like I said, Jameis Davis did well. He's taken in that role
Yeah,
since Holcomb is gone, and you see Jameis Davis being an athlete now, right?
yeah,
I
yeah. An
mean, he's always
athlete. I agree.
he's
He's been
all
an
athlete.
athlete.
You see him being around plays. He was kind of over Hawkinson a lot today.
Yeah.
Would be able to take care of the tight end, so which is good for him. Even though
Hmm.
Hawkinson had a decent game, the
Yeah.
last pass that Hawkinson caught to get the first down late, it
Yeah.
just they schemed him open. You had
Yeah.
receivers who you were their man, and you had two receivers on the outside cross
Yeah.
up, and the corners got confused. So it's just
Hmm.
one of those things. That wasn't a Jameis Davis thing. Cam Curl,
Oh, this wasn't his best day.
it wasn't his best day. If you look at the last 2 weeks, it wasn't Cam Carroll's best day.
Yeah.
He's getting beat on fade routes,
Yeah.
and fade routes because he's out of
Yeah.
phase.
Uh-huh.
When he turns to the
Or he
receiver.
wasn't. He didn't step deep on that play to Thielen, the one that we are talking about.
Yes, he just
His
stepped deep.
depth was off. His
His
depth was
depth,
off.
yeah, depth
Depth
possession
was
off.
off.
If he steps back a
Yeah,
little bit
that play
more,
doesn't happen. That
the
play
play
doesn't
didn't
happen.
happen. He probably picked that one off.
Yes,
So
agreed.
Cam Curl was a little bit off today. Percy
Hmm.
Butler special teams. I think he
Yeah.
did. I thought he did a great job special teams. The one they should have stuck on the 1 yard line, just momentum took him on to into the end zone. But
Hmm.
again, if you look at other special team plays, Percy Butler was down the field. He's fulfilling his role on this team. So as a special
Hmm.
team guy, as of right now, so
Yeah.
that's what you're looking for. Team 4 and 5. I mean, you got a hard Philadelphia, tight, undefeated Philadelphia team coming in. The undefeated Philadelphia team that's taking on this Washington Commanders team next week. So it's going to be. I don't know, man. We talk about it, but it's gonna be rough pickings because you wanted this win here. The Washington
You
Commanders,
wanted this win. You
you
wanted this
wanted this
win
win
bad.
here to get over 500, right? Get over 500 because you
Yeah,
knew
you
you
wanted this
had,
win.
and you
Yeah.
needed you need the NFC win, as Ray was talking about. You needed the NFC win, and so man, Philadelphia's coming to town. Oh,
Yeah,
we
it's
go.
bad. Like this is the thing. Like this is the question I wanna put out there. For the next couple of weeks. Like, do you think that Taylor Heineke has done enough to keep the job of Carson Wentz with this loss? Is it enough? Because my argument is that yeah, it's okay it was good against the Colts, a bad team. And the Packers that we've seen are not a good football team right now. These are two bad teams right now in the NFL, right?
Yeah,
Now the competition got better. He played the Vikings. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't good. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't. We talked bad about Carson when he played the Tennessee Titans, was a better team, and we acted like he had the horrible game. He had two dynamic plays to De'Ami Brown, right? So, all right, we're being fair, and I think he almost threw for 300 yards in that game. Um, then we're gonna be fair, right? I mean, we're being fair. Now you got the Eagles. Carson played the Eagles and didn't do nothing against the Eagles either. So, like, to you has the quarterback done enough to say, you know what?
No.
You should be your job.
No, this is Carson Wentz's job.
I kind of think I don't think he did enough, to be honest with you. I
Yes,
don't
he
think
has.
it's
I
enough.
mean, even in the wins, right? He hasn't done enough.
Yes, that's
All
what I'm
right,
saying. Like,
even in the wins, he hasn't done. What he's done is he's done Heineke. Terry McLaurin has bailed him out 2 weeks in a row.
yeah,
Right. So Terry has bailed him out 2 weeks. Has he done enough? You can't win in this league with your quarterback only throwing for 100 and some yards a game. You can't
really
just
can.
you can't win in this league
Yeah,
for your quarterback throwing just for 100 and some yards.
yeah,
You
and
can't.
I'm with you.
It's just not going to happen, and this is not the league for that. So you have to have. And I mean, again, Heineke brings energy, he brings excitement, but he's not the quarterback for the future for this team. They don't have him yet.
Yeah, I will say, and I'll say this:
Oh,
it's
quarterback.
not.
They do have him. He just haven't moved up the roster yet. And I don't think we see him this season.
Well, I don't know. You got to do it soon because I feel like if the team goes left early, your quarterback of the future ain't gonna be on this roster. I do agree with you. I think the quarterback of the future is gonna be in the draft. If you're in the top 10, if you're in a position to get one of these young quarterbacks, somebody ain't a big fan of, but it is what it is. One of these young quarterbacks, they're gonna take the young quarterback over Sam Howell. Unless you see Sam Howell, unless you get an opportunity to really see Sam Howell. Like they have to see Sam Howell. And you gotta see Sam Howell in pressure situations. Not like where I feel like you gotta see him like I like how the Colts are using Sam Ellinger, right? Like you got to see him in these situations to see if he's a guy that we can win with. And they're getting a good idea. They lost today to the Patriots, and they lost to the Commanders, so they're probably like, nah, he ain't the one. But at least you're giving him that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like, give him an opportunity in real pressure situations, knowing we trying to make the postseason or whatever by record we're trying to make the postseason. But you watch this team, they're limited, right? This team is limited from what you see. So it's not like, oh man, this Washington Commanders team is going to be scary. Like it's scary. This Washington Commanders team, like Heineke is going to help them get to the postseason, or even Carson Wentz at this particular point in time is going to help you get to the postseason because they're that strong. They're that strong of an option right now. Both quarterbacks aren't that strong of options. But I will say this though, I think that the upside, if we're looking at the upside between the two quarterbacks, Taylor Heineke and Carson Wentz, if Carson Wentz can just figure the system out a little bit more, I think everybody would admit that the upside is way more for Carson Wentz to do some dynamic things with this offense than a Taylor Heineke. Just
Yeah.
gotta understand the system better. Like you just gotta you gotta throw the ball to the backs or some guys underneath a little bit more. Instead of looking for the big play.
Yeah.
But if he could do that, then they could win football games. But he just doesn't do that. He holds the football.
And offensive line got to get healthy.
Yeah, that too.
Offensive line got to get healthy, and that's one of the big things too. That is hindering this team from putting up points. Regardless of who the quarterback has been,
Yeah,
they still have not put points up on the board.
yeah,
And you
that's
can
the
say,
truth.
yeah, whether it's Heineke or whether it's
All Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz,
Yep.
they have not put points on the board. So you have to ask: is it the quarterbacks, or is it the coordinator who's calling the play?
Hey man, you know what? You know where I'm at with that. I think it's the coordinator, man. It's been consistent.
Because
It's been this is year 3. It's 3 years of it, man.
And this team doesn't average. Their average is slimming down. If you go back, they don't
Yeah.
average over 20 points a game. I think it's right at 20 points a game that this
No,
team.
they don't even average 20 points.
Yeah, they don't even average 20 points a game.
They're low. They're low. They're low, man.
Yeah.
They're low. They're
And
not even at 20.
you can't win in this league or win in the NFL not averaging 20 points, at least 20, 25 points a game.
Especially with some of the defenses you've seen. You have some defenses you should like Minnesota. You should score on. This is not a good defense. You know what I mean?
No.
Like the Lions weren't, but they scored 20 something. But the Lions are a horrible defense.
And the only reason to stop them from winning the Lions game, the Lions jumped out early.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they did. Yeah. But that's my point. Like these defenses aren't the defense they played against. Other than the Eagles and the Cowboys, the Titans don't have a great defense. No. It's like you should be scoring. The Bears defense wasn't that good, and you struggled against them. You know what I mean? Like, what's happening, man? Like, that's the thing you have to ask yourself. Like, what is happening with this coordinator? Where a point where he can't move the football, like, and score points. And we can keep blaming quarterback play, but I'm gonna keep telling y'all, you keep blaming other people and not blaming the guy who's been here for 3 years with the same thing. That has had the same system, same situation, and you as a football fan scratch your head at certain play calls he makes, and you're like, I think even Ron Rivera, like the reverse trick play, trying to throw a to Bates on the flea flicker, I was like, you doing way too much.
Hey, this game is not a complicated game.
It's not, man.
It is not a complicated game. You only can run a certain amount of defenses, right? And we
Mhm.
know, and you know how to beat those defenses.
Yes.
Your quarterback has option routes off of that. You have plays that's designed. So it's just those things. You have to be able to see it and have to be able to call it and be able to trust the guys to be able to execute it.
Mhm.
And that's the key there. And be able to let your quarterback uh, get out so he can see because he has a seeing problem. We all know that he has. He's only 6. They say he's 6 feet. He's about 5'11".
Yeah, I know that they're being nice with that.
They're
They're being
being
real
fine.
nice with
Yeah,
that.
they're being nice with that. So you got to be able to get out and get. And so that's one of the things with this Washington team. Did they play well today? Defense did.
They
Offense did
did.
not.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
mean, you sum the game up. Defense did. Offense didn't.
I think, yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it in a nutshell, man. We're about to end this show, man. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Just search all Burgundy and Go Errrything. Also tweet us at ABG_Errrything and hit us up on IG at ABG_Errrything and like our All Burgundy and Gold Facebook page. Don't forget to subscribe to the All Burgundy and Gold Errrything YouTube channel as well. Hit that red subscribe button and like a few of our videos. It's good for the algorithm, and we get multiple views that just pop up on YouTube. And also, we want to build our subscriber list. So keep folks subscribe, share it, so we can get more subscribers, so everybody can join us on this all Burgundy and Gold Errrything journey. Anyway, man, this is dope. Dope having speaking to my man Glenn. I wasn't on last week, but I'm getting back post game with my man Glenn. So we in
Yeah.
the building early. Anyway, you've been listening to All Burgundy and Gold Errrything powered by the Urban Sports Scene and Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM Hopewell, Virginia for ages. You dig? Deuces, a mega. Lead us out, big homie.